Audio is mute, sir. Kindly unmute the audio.
Hello, it's not audible. Roshna, it is not audible. Samir sir's voice is not audible here, please.
I have already mentioned it, test rate as reliability. Test rate reliability, again, the correlating the two scores of the reliability. We have mentioned memory effect, carry over effect, practice effect, or absence. These are some of the things that may affect the test of reliability. When you go, suppose now I have given you a test, after some times, after 15 days again the same test. So you may do some mistakes of because of memory. So I have done this, so shall I make it a different one? That way we do practice effect. So now you have seen that later you studied it well, then it will help you to score more. So that is also a negative to reliability. Absence. One is not absent, we cannot take the score. These are some of the issues related to reliability. Parallel form I have already mentioned, or alternate or parallel form. Here we have to have two tests of same kind, and we are administering the same among same children at the same time. Here we have two same tests at different intervals. Test rate test. This is same time but two different tests. This is parallel form or alternative form. In internal consistency reliability, we have split half reliability. We are making it into two, either odd even or half and half, first half and second half. Here the concern is, if the number is very less, we can go for the Coulter-Richardson formula. This is the Coulter-Richardson formula, n divided by n upon n minus 1 into 1 minus sum of PQ divided by standard deviation square. This is the formula. I will share this thing. Normally we don't go for these easily because we have the software. So accordingly only we do that. To software, even Excel will give us the detail. Cronbach alpha, this is the equation, but through SPSS you will get as such. Cronbach alpha score. But condition is that complete thing is required. No total score will give you the detail. Individual statement by score hierarchy. Then all the statements you have to select and transfer to the SPSS window. Then only it will give you the Cronbach alpha result. That is about reliability and validity. We know that validity is the biggest virtue of a test. It should be objective, it should be valid. It measures what we intended to measure. Here we have content validity one. Content validity, generally the coverage of content, experts will give us the clarity. So there is a content validity ratio, accordingly we can. So this will not happen initial part of the scale. Once your scale is final after the item analysis, then only we go for this kind of. So it will be a second kind of expert opinion, content validity. Then we have criterion related validity. The valid test should relate closely to other measures of the same concept. Suppose you have some other test. So I also for my PhD I conducted the criterion related validity. So if you have some other tool, suppose you are working on a self-efficacy, the same self-efficacy tool is developed by someone else. But contextually you are developing a new scale. So you can take the other scale and your scale, both you can administer among same group, then you will get a criterion related validity. Concurrent validity, when criterion measures are achieved at the same time as the test score. Generally we don't go for all the validation, whatever the possible it can do. It denotes the degree to which the test score estimates the individual's present status with regard to criteria. Score and current. So we will predict once a person gets a JEE top score, we predict that he or she should be in a very good company after 5 years. So if it comes, definitely we can say that it is having a current validity. Then we have predictive validity, whether it is able to predict the future. Construct validity, whether all the measures are aligned with the total score. Test measures and construct as a part of it, they align together. That is actually the construct validity. Hello friends, നമ്മുടെ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിൽ ഒരാളെ ഒരു പേഴ്സ് മിസ്സായിട്ടുണ്ട്. നിങ്ങൾ ആരെങ്കിലും എവിടെയെങ്കിലും പേഴ്സ് കാണിയൊന്നും ചെയ്തില്ലേ? ജസ്റ്റ് ചോദിച്ചതേ ഉള്ളൂ. ഡിസ്ട്രാക്റ്റഡ് ആവണ്ട. എവിടെയെങ്കിലും ഒരു പേഴ്സ് face validity and internal validity. That is internal validity, inter-item correlation generally we check for internal validity. So these are the basic things about validity and reliability. Now I will share this slide as such along with other slide. Okay. Shall I close it now? I will show you a finished scale that we have published. I will show you. Then we will come to the concerns of publication. This is a manual of one of my students of Kerala University. We have published with the NPC. So here, this will be the complete process. We tried to incorporate the complete process. When you send for a publication after you complete your scale, there should be an introduction about the concept. Try to be in writing style, APA style. We have academic self-handicapping is a tool. Dimensions of self-handicapping. How to development. Framework of outline of item pool and expert opinion. This also I can share with you. It is already published, but you keep it safe with you because it is already published, so we cannot share as such. Okay, framework of item pool. How it is developed. 60 items were made. Then this table explains what was the deliberation of the experts. All the deliberations of 10 experts, I think 10 experts. It is mentioned here. Okay. Somewhere it is mentioned. So these were the deliberations. Then item analysis. After that, the second draft of the tool will be ready. Then we are going for item analysis. So here I told you that we conducted around 130 only. If I do now, I will not conduct it below the 300. Now I realize that it is required. So earlier I was not having any reference of that. So I did only 130. 130. This is the t-value. T-value is the Edward t-value is confusing. Actually, we are doing this independent sample t-test. Independent sample t-test. So what we have done, we go for the first group, second group, high and low group. That is mentioned here, the process of, see, a sample of 130 students purposely selected and item analysis has been carried out. All the process, they may not write in the thing. So we were having the all 60. 60 was the total number. So we have mentioned, what are the things mentioned? T-values. T-value, serial number of the statement. Okay. Second is t value, independent sample t test between high group and low group. Upper 27% and lower 27% is considered as two different groups. There each statements were given. Like we conducted 60 t values, 60 t tests. Altogether we can do that. This is a decision. Decision is when a score is just like t test is level of significance 0.05. For the large sample, level of significance, what is the level of significance value for the large sample? 0.05, 1.96, 0.01, it is 2.58. If it is done in SPSS, by default it gives you whether it is accepted or rejected, selected or rejected again. So this is p-value is very small, less than 1.96, so it is rejected. This is also less than 1.96, rejected. So all the first, because we have taken 60, most of the questions are rejected. See, this is selected because the p-value is about 2. All others are rejected. Come to this side. This is selected. Question number 19 is selected. Question number 21 is selected. Many are rejected in this case. This is also selected. 2.89, 2.47. Others are rejected. This way, based on the t value, we can write whether it is rejected or selected, retained or selected, retained or rejected. So that table, this way you have to write it. Now again, this is the story has written here. 27% of the responses, higher and lower end were selected for item analysis. Mean and standard deviation obtained and calculated t-value. Value is written 1.96 or above is selected. Final statement is having exactly 20. This is an ideal, sometimes it may not come, but we got 20 out of 60. Exact 20 we got. This is also the Develis is mentioned as a reference here. Then we went for validating. See, this is also one of the learnings for you. Initially the tool was given to 25 experts, only 9 experts returned. That is happening in most of our cases. People will give us the tool, we may not give it in back after comments. So we gave it to 25, but we got only 9 responses. Accordingly, content and face validity are ensured. Here we have not mentioned the content and face validity. But cross validation done. Cross validation done by administering another sample of 130 students from selected 2 schools of Thiruvananthapuram. Cross validation, uski details, it is declared the details by administering another self-handicapping scale developed by someone in 1990. It is given. See, cross-validation, correlated score of 2 different samples. One, concurrent validation, correlated with the self-handicapped scale of Rothbard, 1990. That score is mentioned. Any confusion you can ask. So concurrent validation is possible if you have some other scales of same kind. So concurrent you can do. Next table is about the reliability of academic self-handicapping scale. Cronbach alpha is written, split half, Spearman-Ron-Professor formula based it is written, split half Redman reliability is also written. All the reliability coefficients are above 0.7. Mostly 0.7 above is accepted, 0.75 above is excellent. Less than 7 is not acceptable, not good. You can use maximum 0.6 can be used, but less than 0.7 is not recommended. So reliability, because you are administering it same again on same sample, so it should be good. reliability should be good. That reference is also mentioned. Validity coefficients and reliability coefficient ranges. It is mentioned by some authors. That is also mentioned here. As per the reference and Kaplan and Sarkozy 2009, they have mentioned the validity score should be between the range of 0.30 and 0.40. So all these are the processes if you wish to give for publication and further details. Pattern of scoring is written. Positive and only positive scores we have, no negative. So all the scores, the nature is given, the style of giving, strongly agree that way it is a 5-point scale. This is all about the preliminary aspects of validation. Any confusion? Now, all this we have discussed. Finally, norms of academic scale. So we have mentioned here the norms based on the mean and standard deviation. We have another 130 sample we have administered it and took a mean and standard deviation. Based on the norms, we have presented two different norms. This is the Z-scores. We have mentioned the Z-scores. This I have not calculated. The publisher themselves calculated, converted the Z-score. We have given the row score to them, so they themselves made the Z-score. It is easy. You can also see some of the references. Books like Garrett will give you an idea about how to convert into Z-score. Garrett, you must have read of Garrett. This is some of the Z-scores mentioned, and finally this is the norms developed, that we have developed. Extremely high self-handicapping, high self-handicapping, above average, because we have 7 range of answers. Average, low, high, you can do that. But here we have made 7 ranges of self-handicapping. First range is extremely high, extremely low. In between we have high and low, above average and below average, average or moderate. 7. So it is mentioned the score. Based on the mean and standard deviation, you can do either, or you can do as per the Z-score. So this Z-score calculation I have not done, it is done by the NPC only. This is easy. Sometimes you can also convert into percentile scores also. Percentile scores sometimes we can convert. Then we have to give. Now the questions, it is complete. Now we have the references. All the references here. This is the complete manual of academic self-handling. So this is actually your 3rd chapter, development of the tool. This way you have to have a complete development tool manual. First we will have an introduction. That is not required in your case because you can write simply, you can come directly to the stages. Development of the framework of item pool. Then come to the deliberation of experts, item analysis. After pilot study, it is included in this. We have already written the item analysis table, whether it is accepted or rejected. That we decide upon the t-value. Based on the t-value, we decide. It is the story. There were 130 people, 27% we have taken. Everything, whatever you are writing, give a reference. This is the list we have put. You can also put some other references. Validity and reliability. We used here 2 validity, cross validity, and concurrent validity as statistical measures. Content validity we have not mentioned any statistical measure, but expert opinion we have selected. Next is Cronbach alpha and split half reliability. Test retest we have not mentioned. Pattern of scoring is given, positive and negatives, and the pattern of scoring. We have only positive, so we mentioned. finally we have the norms of test. For the norms again 113, we conducted the test and mean and standard deviation based on that Z-score. This is the overall process of scale development. If you sincerely would like to publish your scale, somebody may use your scale. So if all these are missing, nobody will come forward to take your scale. They need all the scores, then only it will be considered as a validated. We may not say that standardized. Standardization, we need a large sample, thousands of samples. For example, IQ test, we say about 16 PF, you must have heard of 16 PF personality inventory, 16 PF test. Have you ever tried? Similarly, the Rorschach into dot test, all these they have carried out around thousands of samples. Then only they validated it. It is standardized. Commercially, it is standardized. But for a research purpose, we can validate with a limited number of samples. This is the process. Now I'll share this file also with you so you will get an idea of how to conduct. So 2 files I'll share. Now shall we come to the publication side? If you have any question, you can ask now. You should see the systematic review. I can give you a website. This is the Prisma. Prisma guidelines, all of you should go through the Prisma. There is a Prisma statement. Now everyone is doing this kind of, and review based also lots of studies are carried out. Yeah, this is the Prisma guidelines. We have to see the Prisma statement, Prisma extension, Prisma, all these things. First, you explore the website of Prisma. It will be downloaded. Flow diagram. This is also one of the significant thing that how we represent. Prisma guidelines is actually how a systematic review should be represented as a chapter or a paper. This is Prisma checklist. There is a Prisma checklist also. This will help you. Inclusion and exclusion criteria you have to write. Once you write a systematic review, you should include all these in your paper. Identify the reporter's systematic review. Describe the rationale for review in the context of existing knowledge. Provide the objectives. Specify the inclusion and exclusion criteria. Specify the database. I told you the database are Scopus, Web of Science, Google Scholar, IEEE. That way you have to take which database you have referred to. Search strategies you have to do. What are the Boolean searches you have used? How you have used it? So all these you have to mention. Specify the methods to decide whether a study met inclusion criteria. All these are the requirements. Now one more file we have. Prisma. Flowchart diagram. This is also one that we have to do. There are many YouTube videos available regarding the systematic review. See, flowchart diagram we have. It's also downloaded. This is the review pattern. Now we write in every review chapter, this should be there. This way we have to make it. There are some other guidelines also. I don't remember the names. Some other systematic guidelines. This is the major things. How many records you find from the database. How many records you removed after screening. That is specific. Suppose you are talking about professional development of teachers at secondary school education. So when you search, you will get all the things related to professional development of teachers. Then you mention the screening criteria, only the high school, secondary school, only in India or only in Asia. All the screening criteria you have to give. Then how many records you get? Again, how many you excluded? Sometimes we exclude where no full paper is available. You may not be included. So you can exclude the criteria again. Report sought for retrieval, report not retrieved. How many things you got it? Retrieve means how many you could able to download. Then eligibility criteria. What are the reports eligible for the criteria? What are the reasons? Then how many studies you include. Once you search, you may get thousands of data. Then you come down, you may get 60 plus only. One of my students, he did a systematic review and bibliometric analysis. So initially he got 1000 plus database, 1000 plus records. Finally he got only 68. After all the screening process, he got only 68 papers. So now you can also search some of them. This references are there. You can try. It is very difficult to understand initially, but you can try. Some of the sample papers you can sample papers systematically. Now, this is the way people publish papers. The research gate you may get research gate papers, sample papers. Writing systematic review, there are many good papers available. These are some of the examples. This paper gives some of the examples. I can share with you this model. Systematic review model is given. This is a good database. Comparison result is given. Sources selected. So review itself is a very good research. Systematic review, many journals are being published on systematic review and meta-analysis. So that you can look into. So now I'll stop here. Now let us come to the, any questions you can ask. Come to the publication. Now nobody is looking into the normal research. Any question?
Some of the studies that p-value that equal to more than 1.75 or 7 something. What is that?
Yeah. Here actually, we have to, actually if you use SPSS or any software, you don't want to rely upon any value, only see the significance column. Significance column. What are the significance levels we use? Levels of significance we use? What are the levels of significance? 0.01 and 0.05. These are the 0.05. This is, either we call it as 95% confidence limit. The other is 99% confidence limit. These are the two significance levels generally we use in the social sciences and behavioral sciences, including education. So, if you talk about the software, there will be a significance column. In the significance column, if the value is below 0.05, if the significance column value below 0.05, we consider it as significant. We consider it as significant. Otherwise, if it is below or equal to 0.01, it is significant at 0.01 level. This is the way that we interpret if it is a software. If there is no software or we are using manually for large sample, large sample is n is above 30. N is above 30 is considered as large sample in statistics. In this case, it is a fixed value 1.96 or above is considered as significant at 0.05 level. 0.05. There is another value that is 2.58. That is 0.01 level. This is the manual. If you have a small sample, you have to see the T table. Generally, in every statistics book, there will be a T table. Generally, it is as appendix C. It comes T table. You have to look into the T table as per the degrees of freedom. You check the degrees of freedom and go to the T table. Accordingly, you can check. This is 1.96 and 2.58. Okay, now you got it. Now see, when you go for a publication, there are certain criteria you have to look into. How do we publish? What are the things you have to look into? The main thing is that, is it publishable? You have to check the quality first, whether it is publishable. I am not talking about any publication that is generally published from many of the Indian peer-reviewed journals. Anything can be published if you give it with citation or without, they will publish. They have some other criteria, whether it is logical, Indian journals will publish. If you give it in advance, they will publish. If the methodology is okay, they will publish. They will not, I'm not talking about everyone, but they will not take care of the publication style, writing style. Actually, if you talk about international publication, the first criteria, it should be according to the academic writing standards. Academic writing standards, there is a standard, accordingly you have to write. So, journal-wise, whatever journal you have, whatever subject you have, based on that, there is a style of writing. Subject and wise, there is a style of writing. You have to follow that rigorously. American Psychological Association manual is being used in education, psychology, and some of the social sciences, management, commerce. All these use American Psychological Association manual, social work, American Psychological Association manual. It says not, some people even some of the professors understand that it is for writing the references. It is not merely for writing references. It is for everything, everything. You cannot write a single sentence without a citation in it. You cannot write a single sentence without a citation. If I write anything, I should cite something. But some of the Indian journals you see, there will be people write without a reference. Some theses you take, even in the first page or second page, you cannot write any citation. That is not good. Every sentence you have to cite properly. Every sentence you have to cite properly. I can tell you this is also not complete, but this was an initial, right? So, but she tried to incorporate somewhere at least. Somewhere citation. This is citation. Within bracket we are giving. This sentence is cited. Second sentence is cited. Third sentence is cited. So this way we have to cite. Every word we have to cite. Every sentence. There is no your sentence. There is no concern of your sentence. Because that idea will be somewhere in the website or somewhere in other books. So you cannot say that Things are in your, it is your idea. So you have to cite every sentence. We call it as in-text citation. Index citation is to be taken care of every sentence, otherwise they will not consider index citation. Second citation is table and its nature. In APA there is an open table. We cannot write a closed table in APA. It is open table. Title of table, title and number of table. Table number and table title. Table number should be bold. It should be left aligned. Table title should not be bold. It should be italics, left aligned. There are some criteria that you have to follow. For images or figures also there are criteria. Line space there are criteria. Suggested fonts are there. Font suggestion is there. Paragraphs. All these are there. Then again, there are different styles of writing the references at the end. Without this, you cannot publish. Without understanding and following this, you cannot publish in any international journal. This is a very serious thing. If you don't have a clarity regarding the publication manual, at least your subject-wise you see the publication manual. MLA manual is there for language people. For social sciences, Chicago manual is there, Harvard manual is there. For law, Blue Book is there. Blue Book is a manual for law. Others in American Psychological Association, American Anthropological Association, American Sociological Association. All these are some of the manuals used. Many of the social science, they used Harvard manual either or Chicago manual. And if you go to some journal, you are following APA, but they may not be following APA. So you have to change it. So you have basic understanding is required, then it is easy to change. IEEE is also the IEEE manual. When you write a journal article as per APA, it is wonderful, but it is not a criteria for publication. If my journal is publishing IEEE based, so you have to change, otherwise I will not consider your paper. They will see the basic entry criteria, whether it is as per the guidelines of the journal. Whatever the best paper you are writing, that is not a criteria for selection. Good, some people talk about the title, my title is wonderful, my topic is good. It is not a criteria for selection of quality paper. Whether it is as per the guidelines of the citation manual or as per the guidelines of the journal. That is the thing. Now, when you go to, this is the question, is it publishable? Is it publishable? That is the first question you have to ask. Is it a publishable idea? collect my data, that is not an excuse, not a concern for the publisher. They will check whether it is consideration to their journal, good for their journal or not. One of my students from University of Kerala, she uploaded a paper to a Russian journal. It was a good structured paper. Immediately we got a rejection. So then later we realized that it is not about the quality of paper. They mentioned that they need a Russian studies only. So we have conducted in India, so they don't want to publish it. Immediately we got rejection. So we have to see whether it is in the purview of their scope or not. And sometimes they ask you the data sheet also. Where is your data? You have to upload your Excel data, complete data. They will cross check whether there is a copy paste, whether any manipulation. Through software they can check it. Some people do manipulations data. 100 data they will collect and they will make it 400. Copy paste. This is happening in many cases. That things will not work if you go for any international journals. They will not consider because they can identify whether it is a fabricated data or not. There are many software available. Now let us come to some of the journal platforms where we can identify any journal. There is a fake journal, School Psychology International. Let me take that as a reference. You can see School Psychology International. This is a very reputed journal. How to identify journal? You can directly go to the website of the databases you can identify. Never ever send papers to any WhatsApp messages because there are fake messages. See, this is a 6 times a year. They are publishing 6 times a year. So it is a very good journal and you can see their scores here. 1.7 is their impact factor. Impact factor generally education journals have an impact factor less than 2. So 1.7 is a good impact factor. So first, when you look into any journal, this is a state journal, School Psychology International is its name. Now directly go to the scope of the journal. Submission guidelines in the scope of the journal will be there. So no scope of the journal as such here, but you can go to the submission guidelines. Inside that there will be scope of the journal. See, they have mentioned various aspects. The aims and scope. First, if you see the aims and scope, they mentioned here. They publish 6 times a year relevant research to those who provide psychological and educational services to youth, families, schools, and communities around the world. Appreciating a variety of theoretical perspectives and methodologies, journal publishes high quality academic scholarship aimed at driving innovation and promoting evidence-based practice to support positive student outcomes. These are some of the aspects. Their matrices you can see, metrics, Scopus, Google Scholar, abstracting and indexing services they have mentioned, where you can find this indexing. If you go back, now our other guidelines see or how to structure it. Abstract. Abstract is an unstructured abstract. In certain cases, there will be structured abstract. So everything as per the, suppose you find that this is the best choice for me. This is a better choice of journal for me. Then select that journal. Now see the other. Because if you identify a journal, in a day or two you cannot give a paper. It will take time. So give it, taking your time, study it, analyze it, see every component, then decide whether it is a choice or not. So include an unstructured abstract. Unstructured means simply we write an abstract of what is the limit must be mentioned here, maybe 300 words. Main body of your manuscript that consider. And another, many of the publication related papers says that never repeat anything as such in the abstract that is given in the main paper. Some people see one or two sentences from introduction, something from methodology, some part of the result, and they will make an abstract. That kind of cooking up is not possible. They will say that, sometimes they mention that it will never repeat in any of your journal original manuscript, the other part of your paper. Abstract is written, then there is a keyword, artwork, figures, how to give it. Sometimes we have to give the tables inside. Sometimes they will have mentioned the space of table 1, give table. Sometimes they will ask for you ORCID ID. Have you created? Author, you should have an ID. So you can log in, you can sign in and register, either sign in and register. So with my ORCID ID is there, so I can sign in. So that whatever you have given, okay. Some errors maybe. So this is the thing, some ID, I have to check it again. So this is, so if you are submitting a paper, this is a mandatory thing. So if you don't have, you have to create ORCID. Whatever reviews you have done, whatever papers you have published, everything it will come directly to the ORCID ID. Acknowledgements, if you have any acknowledgements, you have to give author contribution, statements and declaration, ethical guidelines, consent to participate in peer review, consent for publication. All these you have to do. So accordingly, this is a rigorous process. Submission may take 1 week minimum for submission. Go to the primary part of the journal initially. These are open answers. See, at least 10 papers you have a look into, have a glance and see whether you can arrange the paper accordingly. This is an abstract. So what are they included in the abstract? You can see. Now this is introduction. See, everywhere they have written in brackets. Every sentence you have to write. That is citation. Whatever you are writing now onwards, you have to practice it. See, every sentence it is theoretical framework is given here. As per their country, then the present study, about the study they are writing. Method, I told you, methods. There will not be methodology, methods. Directly they come to the participants. Generally about the sample, Indian people write that 300 samples, 150 boys and 150 girls. This will not work in international. They need a detailed description. See the description? What is the description? See. 464 psychologists, 91% female, working either public, 80% or private schools. Participants were recruited through invitations sent to Portuguese school whose contacts were publicly available on the web. Participants age range 25 to 67, mean of the age, standard deviation of the age, year of experience 0 to 42 years, mean is also given, experience working in the same school, mean and standard deviation, professional qualification base, 57% educational psychologists, 39 clinical psychologists, remaining were either social or organizational psychologists, development psychologists or individuals who reported having other psychology degrees. number of participants significant, and document all this. In detail, we have to give the population, sorry, participants, sample. The title is participants, not sample. Next is tool, that title is measure, as I mentioned earlier. Measure is the title given here, measure. We developed the questionnaire, again the story, complete story of the tool development. Then they are talking about the result. See the open table of APA. This is the open table of APA. There will not be any borders of APA table. Procedure of data collection, data analysis, how they have done. Result, table 1. Table 1 is not visible here. If you click, then only you can go to table 1. This is table 1. Sorry, table 1 is here. This is table 2. Graph. So how they have mentioned it, you can see the data analysis. Let me see the data analysis again. Data analysis guidelines is given. These are the 2 guidelines they used for data analysis. M plus script. They have mentioned some specific terms, so you can also see what it is. So I was checking for the software that is not mentioned. I think somewhere it will be. They are not mentioned, but they have used it. Okay. Then after the result, we have the discussion. Discussion is very important. Some of our researchers will not write the discussion. It is very significant one to write in the papers. It should be the major part. All the discussion should be based on the previous studies. This is not only for journal, this is also we have to follow this discussion. See the discussion. Everything is based on studies. Many pages of discussion. This is implications again. They have mentioned limitations and future suggestion. Summary of findings. So some papers may not have this. Ethical statement is given. Whether there is any conflict of interest. Generally no conflict of interest should be there. Funding. This is a funded program. Authors disclose the receipt of following financial support. This is supported by the Portuguese Foundation for Science and Technology. Then they mention all the references. This is the style. So if you read at least 5 to 10 papers, you will get an idea how to structure your paper. This is the requirement. We have to go through the existing papers, sample papers, then only you will get an idea how to structure it. Now when you take something from this article, it is also very easy. Earlier we have to write everything properly. Now see the cite article. If you take the cite article, you will get the citation as per APA. It is everything is very easy these days. You can simply copy the citation and you can paste it. If you are using this paper as one of your review or somewhere in the introduction, if you write, you can copy the citation. Earlier we have to write everything. It was difficult. Now this is very easy to copy the citation. Now see some other journal and also we can see, for example, another I am just giving you there is an structured abstract. British Journal of Educational Psychology, they are very good journal. They have a structured abstract. So if your abstract is an unstructured paragraph, they will not consider your paper. British Journal of Educational Psychology will not consider because they need a structured abstract. What is the structure? For example, I am taking this. See the abstract? This is the abstract. Abstract consists of background in 2-3 sentences, aims of the study in 1 or 2 sentences, method, result, conclusion. This is known as structured abstract. Again, the abstract is divided into introduction or background, aims, method, result, conclusion. Then their introductory part is introduction. See how many papers they have cited. Every sentence is properly cited with more studies. Some studies will be, some of the sentences they have more than one citation they have. Materials and methods. Their usage is not measures, materials and methods. So different usages for different journals. So that also we have to look into whether the style you follow is okay with the journal. For that you have to read at least a few articles, at least a few papers they have published. Now, okay, this is okay. Now let me come to again the guidelines of this paper. So there is no shortcut in publication. First thing is that you have to see other guidelines. There will be other guidelines. Aims and scope, we have to see the submission guidelines, scope, aims and scope, manuscript categories, there are different categories of manuscript, free format submissions, title page, author contribution, abstract, main file, references, tables should be self-contained and contain no duplicate information contained in the text. No duplicate information contained in the text. That is mentioned. Whatever you now what we write in whatever is the table, everything we write. They mentioned that whatever you have mentioned in the table should not be repeated again. Should not be that. There are some criteria for every journal. So that also we have to look into. Okay, this is all about now. Let us come to some APA guidelines, very easy APA. 7th edition. I can give you a file. This is a very common, Idaho State University. It's a wonderful 6-7 pages, I think. 6 pages. This is a very good reference for learning the basics of writing style, APA, 7th edition. There are 2 writing styles you must be knowing. In every academic writing, there are 2 writing. One is styles of writing. If you talk about AP, anything we have 2 types of writing. One is direct quotation. The other is paraphrasing. Paraphrased version. So every journal mentions that it should not be about 10%. Direct quotation should be as such, information taken from somewhere should be less than 10%. Maximum you have to use paraphrased. So both the direct quotation and paraphrased can be of 2. One is narrative style and Second is parenthetical style. There are two, parenthetical style and narrative. Parenthetical and narrative. There are two styles in all the direct quotation and paraphrasing versions. When I come to the, I will take this link also. See, this paper is one of the best references. It is mentioned what is narrative and parenthetical. Narrative, this way is we call it as narrative. In the narrative, only here will be in bracket. The name of the author will be outside bracket. That is narrative. According to Sendak and Weiss, 2010. Only here is in bracket. This is known as narrative style. When you write the statement and all the author and the year information about author and year in bracket, that is parenthetical citation. This is, when I talk about this, you find it complex, but it is simple when you follow it. You start listening to this, reading this, definitely you will get it. These are the two types of writing. Here the direct quotation is given and at the end I have given paraphrased. How to write both in both ways. Both way means there are two ways of writing, both direct quotation and paraphrase. They are narrative citation and parenthetical. In the narrative citation, only the year and page number will be in bracket. Name of the authors will be outside the bracket. When you talk about parenthetical, name of the author, year, page number, everything will be inside the bracket. That is parenthesis. Parenthetical. The name is also parenthetical. So there are different situations. One author, two authors, 3+ authors, group author like libraries, associations, group author, late reference, author unknown, how to write. All these cases we have to learn separately. So this you can also see. Any confusions?
So when we are going for the theoretical audio gap chapter, we can mix these two types.
Yes, yes. But direct quotation should not be more than 10%. What is direct quotation as such you are taking? For example, I can give an example. Suppose Albert Bandura, I'm just giving a different sentence. Social learning is suppose this is given by Albert Bandura in the year 1920, book page number 23. Suppose this is a direct quotation. This is a quotation you have seen in Albert Bandura's book. So how can we write direct quotation? Direct quotation you are writing. You are taking only the second name, Bandura. Okay, so I am taking. It is clear that I am taking this. Things here. See this, you can see the sample. This way you have to write. This is the thing. Then within bracket I have to write second name of the author. Bandura, comma 1920, comma page 23. This is the way of direct quotation. This is what type of direct quotation? Direct quotation parenthetical. Direct quotation parenthetical. One category, I am giving one category, direct quotation parenthetical. Same statement I am writing the different type. Direct quotation, narrative. What is the difference? The name of the author will be outside. I can write according to Bandura 1920 with bracket close, inverted comma. Social learning is effective than individualized instruction within bracket page number 23. This is narrative. Let me come to the one slide, one page. See, this is difference between direct quotation, parenthetical, direct quotation, narrative. Got it? Here, Bandura, year and page number, everything is inside bracket. Here, quotation is as such. This quotation is same. Here also the quotation is same. Both in the direct quotation, both in the parenthetical and narrative, we use quotation as such. But only thing is that here, Bandura's name is within the bracket, in the parenthetical. In the narrative style, Bandura's name is outside. According to Bandura, only year and page number is in bracket. This is about direct quotation. Now let me come to the third one. That is paraphrased version, paraphrased, parenthetical. I am taking Bandura's paraphrased parenthetical. But I have to change it accordingly. Paraphrase doesn't mean that you are writing the terms as such. Simply learning, you take it as an instruction, social, group. That is not actually the paraphrase. You change the situation. Suppose I can write see, I have written what Bandura has written. Social learning is effective than individualized instruction. Learning that I wrote this. This is my paraphrasing. Can you find any difference? Any similarity? Totally different, but idea is inside. So I have to write, after that I have to write Bandura, 1920. No need of page number because I have changed it. I cannot find in page number 23 the same sentence. So no need of writing page number. This is the way of paraphrase. What Bandura has mentioned, social learning is effective than individualized instruction. What I mentioned, to facilitate better interpersonal understanding and group cohesion, social learning can be helpful than the traditional classroom practices. Entirely different writing. This is paraphrasing. Then there will not be any plagiarism. When you are writing, some people do. So Bandura mentioned this. So they effective. Go for some synonym. Actual, active. That is people do paraphrasing. That is not actual paraphrasing. Even in Toolboard also sometimes they replace the word with some other word. Complete context you have to change. In your own learning context, your research context you have changed. You have to change. So this way, if you write, both the differences, huge difference. You cannot find any similarity with the first word. So there will not be any similarity index for that. So it will not be a plagiarism. This way you have to write. Now the third is narrative. Narrative only thing is that the Bandura will be outside the bracket. I'm not writing as such. These are the things that we have to rigorously see. The writing is this way. When you are writing seriously, many ideas you collate and write it in your own language and quote word from you got the idea. You can compare. Now you can also write, Bandura has mentioned social learning is effective than individualized instruction. You keep on writing something in your own language, in your own study context. You can change it, but Bandura will be the reference point. Because of Bandara only you got the idea. That is the thing. This way you have to write. Every sentence, as we have seen, some of the journal articles we have seen. See this, everything is mentioned properly. Everything is mentioned as within brackets. Some of the articles, these are the most cited. This is a study about ability grouping. For the better clarity, you can also take the PDF version of the thing. Yes, this is the, see, this is a structured abstract. I have seen you structured abstract. See how many years, all the years mentioned, these are the things. See, this is a learning for you. See this sentence you see. This sentence you see. Overall, most of the studies till this. See, one sentence they have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 references in single sentence. This way we have to do. So multiple ideas you are reading and collating and writing your own sentence, quoting all the people together. That is the best article. So when you can, this also they have mentioned 5 people. See, the first sentence, unlike systemic syndrome, this way, this is the first sentence. They have mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people together. After reading 5 articles, they wrote a single sentence on their own. This way we have to practice academic writing. Then you can check for grammar and punctuation issues, but write the references accordingly. Without this now, we cannot go forward for publication in any Scopus or Web of Science journals. Initially we have to, that is why I told you to make a group of scholars, write and help each other, find out some good sources for publication. These are the basic things. Are any questions now? We can take some questions. And then I will tell you some of the funding sources. That is also one of the things. Any clarifications required? Research methodology books. Somebody asked, any books can be used with you. Makbari and why there is a good book. There are good books available in most of the libraries you can get. LRK is a book, very good book. I don't know whether it is available in library. Makbari and White. For the basic, we can go for Western, and it is also in India it is good because they have copied, but it is also Western Khan. Similarly, then statistics we have Black. I don't exactly remember the names. Anderson is another statistics books. The title I don't know exactly. Then Henry Garrett is basic for statistics. For tool development, I told you Grigory psychological testing, anesthesia, Develis. Then Kerlinger is also good for experimental research. Kerlinger's research methodology for experimental researchers. And online available, one more is the Titus Scoreboard. Generally, we talk about one book that is available online. Experimental research. We forgot the name. These are the good books. Whatever you are writing, any methodology, so any tool development, better is to have a research background, theoretical background. Without theoretical background, it is not good. You should have a theory to support your research. So every time, whenever you are proposing something, there should be a theoretical support. Somebody was asking about theoretical support. Tool development book I have already mentioned. Which component or dimension? Generally we put dimensions. That is not a matter dimension or component. Sometimes construct and subconstruct. That is also construct is also a usage. Variable, subvariable. These are all usages people use. Criterion is also a criterion to address something. These are the terminology generally we use. Yes. For the Cronbach alpha, if you are writing the reliability, all the possible you can do. Cronbach alpha, split half. There are two things: Getman reliability and one more. Okay, Fukuda Richardson. Both will come. So you can use all the possible reliability. But Cronbach's alpha is only for scale. Only for scale, not for questionnaire, not for test. Generally, we don't use for test. If you have any other evidence, you can see. But in some studies, I don't have reference now. But I have seen that only for scales, Cronbach alpha is used. Difference between survey and normative survey. Actually, surveys are in general survey. Normative, if you have a specific norm based, we call it as normative survey. You can see, for more clarity, you can see the difference between normative and descriptive. General survey, we call it as descriptive survey. If you have some specific norms to take the sample, we call it as normative survey. This side is also there? Okay, this is the
No.
this side.
Yeah.
Okay. If the sample of study is students with ADHD, who should be the sample for pilot study for tool standardization? If the tool is specifically for ADHD, you can go for that sample only for piloting also. If the tool is general but you are using for ADHD, then anyone can be sampled for piloting. Generally, you are checking general aggressive behavior. So you don't want to mention it is only for ADHD. So any sample you can take for pilot study. For the study, you can use ADHD. If the title is scale to assess the aggressive behavior of ADHD, then you go for that sample only. Otherwise, general sample. Who has asked the question? No, not here.
It's an online
Online, okay. If you are specifically the tool is made for the category only, then you can go for the specific category.
The name of the person is mentioned.
Yes. Ron is mentioned. Then stratified random sampling. Actually, stratified random sampling, nothing. Simple random sampling, I told you. Simple random, you need total number of people. Total number of people you need to understand the simple random sampling. Suppose, for example, Trivandrum district you are taking 11th standard students. So for simple random sampling, you need complete list of all 11th standard students of Trivandrum. This is the requirement. From that, you can take either as a lottery method or from a random table. You can take it through a random table either or a lottery method. So if you take it as difficulty, I told you, suppose in Thiruvananthapuram there are 50 schools or 100 schools. So you are taking 500 sample. So what you have to take out of the 100 schools, suppose in 100 schools you have around 180 students. 180 students in a session. There are 3 classes: commerce, art, humanities, and science. So this will 18,000 will be your sample. You need complete list of people. Or in a ball, in a this box, you need all the 18,000. They have to list out one by one, school wise. Then 500 samples out of this 18,000. This 500 will be 1 or 2 from one school, the other 2 from the other school. So it is very difficult to get it. The same thing is possible in stratified also. Only thing is that here, as per the strata, you divide into groups. For example, your strata is sex category. So you will have 2 groups and the list. 2 groups and their list. One for girls and another for boys. That is the only thing. Selection again the same way. So it is also difficult. That is not required that 500, 200 from one and 200 from boys or 200 from girls. That is only quota sample. Quota. Not strata. It is quota. Quota is non-probability sample. If you are taking simply equal number from boys and girls, it is quota sample only. If it is stratified random, you should have complete list. Then select boys separately and girls separately. Equal number. That was another question. Instructional package is asked. If you are making an instructional package, a model you can follow. Model or framework you can go. Whatever theory you have, accordingly you have to make a framework. Instructional package framework. It will have a title definitely, and we will have objectives or learning outcomes. Learning outcomes you will write. Then about the materials you will write. The complete duration of the package. Additional support, expected environment, instructor requirement, what are the skills required for the instructor, everything you have to mention. Then you have to give a detailed plan. That is like a lesson plan you have to give, including activities, materials, methods that you use, other pedagogical approaches, evaluation. All these should be according to specific theoretical background, specific theory. If it is an instructional package, is blended learning, which blended learning you are taking, which theory you are taking, all these you should have a clarity. Then all these in a detailed manner you have to write. Yes. Lesson plan, how many? What is it? You have a package. Suppose it is a boosting emotional intelligence booster package. So to boost up the emotional intelligence, how many weeks you plan? Maybe 6 weeks plan. Out of the 6 weeks, what are the activities? How many lesson plans you cover? Lesson plans means, is it through lesson or it is through activity, whatever the plan I mentioned. Either lesson plan or activity plan. So that you have to structure again. Out of these 6 weeks, how many days you will incorporate all the activity. So there will be a master plan and specific plans. That is actually the instructional package. If it is again online or if it is a computer based, that depends upon the other aspects. This is the detailed plan I mentioned. Tool validation, somebody asked, I mentioned it, I will give you the plan. That was another question about the tool validation. We have already covered it. I will share the document with you and also the manual of one text.
So one more
Yes, yes. Other questions you have?
two more questions from online.
Okay.
How to download the books for free, especially for the e-books?
E-books, I don't know exactly the site now. I will tell you later. I will tell you. Share with you. Answer and will be shared.
And next question is, what's the difference between extend and level? Interpret how is level and extend?
Okay, that is a critical question again. Some people mention that extend is simply if you take the mean and standard deviation, it is considered as extend. To what extent they have? When we talk about the level, in the level we already, as per the manual, what is the level? Whether it is satisfactory, average, below average, high. That way we have some idea. Suppose if I take this manual, sharing here, this is a manual. If the person got 63, that means his level is above average. If a person got 29, he is low, academic self-handicaping low. If he is 90, that means he is extremely high in self-handicap. This is the level. As per the manual, at what level means? Extend is simply the mean and standard deviation. As per the statistical score, where the group lies. Level we can individually decide where at what level the person is. Extend generally we use for a simple group through a mean and standard deviation. That is what I perceive. People have lots of discussions regarding that.
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Sir, good afternoon.
Yes. She's asking.
Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me?
Training package.
Training package. This way we can also do this way. If it is a training package, suppose. Actually, there is no, as far as my knowledge is concerned, there is no hard and fast rule for the training package. Here, main thing is that you have to identify the target audience. Target audience, inclusion criteria. What is your criteria to be included in that? That should be one thing. Second thing is that the time availability, approach you follow, number of participants in a group. Number in a group. All these you decide in advance. These are the basic. Now you have learning outcomes. Learning outcomes or objectives. What are the learning outcomes or what are the objectives or outcomes? Then you are writing mode of delivery of the training, whether it is self or expert based. Self or expert based. That you have to write mode of delivery. Another is online or offline. That you have to write. Next one is individual and or group, whether it is individual only or individual come group. That you have to mention. Now, what are the skills or components you cover as per the specific plan, as per the learning outcomes or objectives? Simply we can say the outcomes. As per these outcomes, what are the skill components? So you write component 1. Suppose this is the training package on interpersonal intelligence. I need communication as one component. So you plan how many classes, types of classes, assessment, how will you assessing that, what are the materials you are giving, what are the strategies of pedagogy that you use, all these. Again, the second component, third component, fourth component. In between, internal evaluation if you have to write. Then again come component 2, component 3, that way same way it comes. Finally, terminal evaluation. You can also add feedback, final feedback, or in between also, during the internal evaluation also, you can add feedback. whether any technological platform you are going to incorporate, you can incorporate. This I will share as such. No?
So one more doubt.
Yes.
During this, if the study is developing a package on something,
Yeah.
so during the implementation of that package, for example, can the researcher design his own way of implementing it? For example, if you are designing phase 1 and giving an innovative term,
Yes.
so there'll be a strategic planning will be there. So in the first phase, some kind of a prompting of that will be given. In the phase 2, it will be to enrich
Yes.
or deepen this thing. And based on activities will be given in each phase.
Yes.
So can the researcher plan these phases? Innovatively, can he or she give a particular term and
Yes.
design that?
Only thing is that the outline you just get it validated by the expert. One thing. Second thing is that if you are following any specific approach, for example, this is a constructivistic based strategy. So constructivism should be the core idea. That should not be diverted. In the constructivistic style, if you are following the constructivistic paradigm, it should be as per the paradigm, then you make the innovation within that framework.
Okay, understood.
If it is blended learning, it should be blended learning as such. If it is a table rotation, you should use the table rotation blended learning. Then you use the other thing. But as per the training package development design, what methodology, what approach, what theory you use, that should be the core. Then again, otherwise you can add any innovation following the existing base.
Development of the package, suppose it is based on the ADDIE model.
Yes.
I'm talking only about the particular implementation.
Yes, anything you can add, but ADDIE model, the ADDIE should be the core. That should be the sequence.
But when
Other things you can add anything. Yeah.
during the implementation, within that particular
Yes, anything you can
researcher
add.
can innovatively.
Yes. If you plan it for 1 hour, it should be 1 hour. Okay, so you can ask part 1 and part 2, you can take it differently. One class will begin with an introduction, begin a brainstorming exercise. So second session also you can divide and second again start with the second thing. Theory complete may not be possible to complete it in 1 class. So again the half we will teach in the second class. Same way you can also design. Yes. Intro part again you have to add it. Otherwise you can skip it and simply you can write that the second part is delivered in another with a small introduction of the previous class. Like generally number class we will start with an introduction. That you have to mention. Better is to mention.
So one more question.
Yes.
When do we use T value, Edward T in item analysis? Is it different from T test?
Yes, Edward T. When I will refer to that in detail and I will tell you. But what basic reference what I got it as, it is not better is to use independent sample T test. I will comment on it later. Okay. I will give you the details in solution.
The next one is, does strategy also have the same format as that of package?
I am not ready. 1 second.
Does strategy also have the same format as that of the package?
Yes, strategy and package. Strategy actually whatever we use it in the classroom. Package actually it is a complete package. For package you can use some activity, some strategy, some approach. But package means it's complete. To complete, suppose for example, package of, for example, just take a package of the hospital. Delivery package. That means complete from beginning to the end of a process of a delivery of a child. It comes a package. It is complete. So if you talk about the emotional regulation based package, that means after completing this package, they will get something about emotional regulation. It will be complete. For that, different strategy we can use. For ensuring that specific idea of or the outcome of that specific package, various strategies we use.
Then what are the steps have to follow to develop this
Strategy
strategy?
is different strategy. If you see the cooperative learning strategies, we have Jigsaw. So that steps you can follow. If you have a specific outline strategy, you can use that specific strategy. Brainstorming you can take as a strategy if you take. So that what are the specific steps you follow, you can use that. Otherwise, if it is not based on any specific predetermined plan, you can use as your strategy. You can develop your strategy as well based on some theoretical inputs. Anything, any small theoretical inputs. Suppose, give me an example of a strategy using puzzles to create curiosity among students. So you are not doing anything, simply creating a puzzle using educational puzzle maker and giving that to the students. That is your strategy. That strategy is a, we can say that it is a media integrated strategy.
Then you package can be.
Yes, use any strategy you can use. Yes. Scale.
Scaling the reliability.
പക്ഷെ കോൺട്രാക്ട് ട്രാൻസ്ഫർ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നതിൽ കുഴപ്പമില്ല. നമ്മൾ ഓൺലൈൻ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇത് SPS ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഈസിയാണ്. മാനുവൽ ചെയ്യും. ഇല്ല, ഓക്കെ, ചെയ്തില്ലെങ്കിൽ കുഴപ്പമില്ല. ഇല്ല, പാറ്റേൺ ത്രൂ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുകയാണെങ്കിൽ there is no requirement of all these the other aspects. ഐറ്റം അനാലിസിസ് ചെയ്യണ്ട. ഇനി എന്താ
Hello.
Yes.
The subjects are mindfulness, intervention strategy.
Okay.
അപ്പൊ ബയോളജിയെ മൈൻഡ്ഫുൾനെസ്സുമായിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് സ്ട്രാറ്റജി
ഓക്കെ. ഇപ്പൊ ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് എന്താ?
ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്ന മൈൻഡ്ഫുൾനെസ്സിനെ ബയോളജി സബ്ജക്റ്റുമായിട്ട് ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള സ്റ്റെപ്പ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യാമോ?
എന്റെ നോളജ് അനുസരിച്ച് എങ്ങനെ ചെയ്യാം. സ്ട്രാറ്റജി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇഫ് സംതിങ് ഈസ് ഓൾറെഡി അവൈലബിൾ സ്ട്രാറ്റജി യു ക്യാൻ ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റ്. ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു സ്ട്രാറ്റജി ഇഫ് യു ഹാവ് സീൻ സം സ്ട്രാറ്റജീസ് that is specifically possible to implement in your subject. നമ്മുടെ സബ്ജക്റ്റിൽ ബയോളജി ഇന്റഗ്രേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത സ്ട്രാറ്റജി ആണെങ്കിൽ you can use that. Otherwise you can design your own strategy. Teaching strategy there is no hard and fast rule. There are available strategies that you can use either or you can develop your own strategy. പക്ഷെ നമ്മൾ ഡെവലപ്പിംഗ് ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുക whether such strategies are already available. That we have to check. Now there are many AI resources available. What is the strategy used in that? You can just plan your strategy, give it. You can ask a question whether it is coming. Such kind of strategies you will get it. Accordingly, you can modify it. Package of the complete item. It's a complete source for addressing some specific purpose. Any question?
Using AI for this virtual strategies, how far is it reliable?
Reliable, what I mean is, when you approach it, they will give you some examples. You can also add prompting that like from authentic sources, can you give me strategies? That similar kind of strategy that is used by some researchers with proper references. You check whether the reference is okay, then we can depend upon that way. Basically test ആണ്, but test standardization ആണ് DBDI വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Difficulty test discriminating power വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അങ്ങനെ ഐറ്റംസ് ഒക്കെ നമുക്ക് എല്ലാ കോമ്പോണന്റിനെ ഉൾപ്പെടുത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള ഇതുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. There is no hard and fast rule in the item. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ ഒരു researcher and research supervisor finds that the item sufficient for assessing the creativity of a specific group, then it is okay. വളരെ സിമ്പിൾ ആവരുത്, കുറച്ച് കോംപ്ലക്സ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. കാരണം ചില സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ടെസ്റ്റ് വെച്ചാൽ നമുക്ക് കറക്റ്റ് നോക്കി അറിയാൻ പറ്റും what is the correct answer. It should be a creative. So creative കുറച്ച് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഹാർഡ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും.
we have almost come to the end of the session. So if you have any more questions, you are welcome to address it. So please raise your hands, those who have questions. Okay, they can come forward and raise their question. Nobody is there. Okay, it seems that nobody has got any questions. So I would I invite 5 members from the audience to come and give a feedback. Okay.
ആദ്യം വരുന്ന 5 പേർക്ക് ചാൻസ്.
ആദ്യം വരുന്ന 5 പേർക്ക്. Okay.
മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാം. അടുത്ത 4 പേരുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പോലെ സമയമില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ട് നമുക്ക് കറക്റ്റ് കൺക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ ചെറിയൊരു ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് പറയാം. 4 പേർക്ക് കൂടി ചാൻസ്.
എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. ഇന്നത്തെ രാവിലെ മുതൽ നമ്മൾ കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇവിടെ കേട്ട് റിസർച്ചുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് ഏറെക്കുറെ നമ്മൾ എവിടെയെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ വായിച്ചതാണെങ്കിൽ പോലും ഒരു ഫേസ് ടു ഫേസ് ഇന്ററാക്ഷൻ കിട്ടുമ്പോഴാണ് നമുക്ക് കുറച്ചുകൂടി അതിനൊരു പോയിന്റ്സ് നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിൽ ഓർക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ ബേസിൽ നമുക്ക് റിസർച്ച് മുന്നോട്ട് ചെയ്തു പോകാൻ എളുപ്പമാണ്. പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് സാറിനെ പോലുള്ള ഒരു റിസർച്ച് പേഴ്സണെ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയതാണ് ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഭാഗ്യം. സാറിന്റെ നേരത്തെ ഒരു ക്ലാസ്സിൽ ഞാൻ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ആദ്യം ഞാൻ വിചാരിച്ചു സെയിം കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും, അപ്പൊ ഒന്നുകൂടി ഉറപ്പിക്കാം. പക്ഷെ അത് മാത്രമല്ല, കുറെ കൂടി കാര്യങ്ങളോടെ കിട്ടി. അന്ന് ജൂൺ പ്രിപ്പറേഷന്റെ സമയത്താണ് സാറിന്റെ ക്ലാസ് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പോ അന്ന് അതെനിക്ക് ഒരുപാട് സഹായം ചെയ്തു. ഇപ്പൊ ഞാൻ എല്ലാവരും നിരവശം കഴിഞ്ഞ് നിൽക്കുന്ന അവസ്ഥയാണ്. അപ്പൊ കുറച്ചും കൂടി കമ്മ്യൂണിക്കേഷനെ കുറിച്ച് കുറെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ കൂടെ കിട്ടി. അപ്പൊ സാറിന് ഇനിയുള്ള ഇതുവരെ ക്ലാസ് ഇതിൽ കൂടുതൽ നമുക്ക് ലഭിക്കുന്നതായിരിക്കും. സാറിന് ഒരു ക്ലാസ് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്തു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാലും ഇനിയും പുറകോട്ട് മാറരുതാണ്. സാർ ഓരോ തവണയും വേറെ പുതിയ പുതിയ കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് നമുക്ക് പകർന്നു തന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇറ്റ്സ് എ വണ്ടർഫുൾ ക്ലാസ്.
സമയത്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം വർക്ക്ഷോപ്പിൽ ഒത്തിരി പുതിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾ കിട്ടി എന്നുള്ളതാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്. വേറെ 2-3 പേർക്കും കൂടെ ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് പറയാനായി നിങ്ങളോട് വന്നിരിക്കാം. സമയമില്ലാത്തതുകൊണ്ടാണ്.
ഒരു റിസർച്ചറിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം സമീർ സാറിനെ പോലെയുള്ള ഒരു റിസോഴ്സ് പേഴ്സണെ കിട്ടുക എന്ന് തന്നെ അതൊരു വലിയൊരു ബ്ലെസ്സിംഗ് തന്നെയാണ്. നമ്മുടെ എന്തോ ഒരു നിയോഗം പോലെയാണ് സാറ് ഇവിടെ അവൈലബിൾ ആയി ഉണ്ടാകുകയും നമുക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു വാല്യുബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ദിവസം കിട്ടുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് എത്ര നമ്മൾ ഡൗട്ട് ചോദിച്ചാലും നമുക്ക് റിസർച്ചേഴ്സ് ഓൾവേസ് നമുക്ക് ഇനി വീണ്ടും ഡൗട്ടുകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. പക്ഷെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സാറിന്റെ കയ്യിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരുപാട് വാല്യുബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള വളരെ നമ്മുടെ സ്റ്റൈലിൽ ക്രൂഷ്യൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് സാറിന് കിട്ടുവാനായിട്ട് സാധിച്ചു. പുതിയ ഇൻസൈറ്റ്സ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവാൻ സാധിച്ചു. അതുപോലെ നമ്മളുടെ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് ഡാറ്റ കളക്ഷൻ ആ ഒരു ഫേസിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ എത്തി നിൽക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്കിത് ഈ ഒരു ഇൻപുട്സ് എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ വളരെ വാല്യുബിൾ ആണ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ടൂൾ ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ് ഫേസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന എല്ലാവർക്കും തന്നെ, അതായത് ഫോർ എവറി ഫേസ് റിസർച്ച് ഇൻ എവറി ഫേസ് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം ഓൺലൈനിൽ ഉള്ള പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസിനും അതുപോലെ ഇവിടെ വന്നു ചേർന്ന എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇത് വളരെ ഉപകാരം ആയിരുന്നു. ഇനി ഇതുപോലെയുള്ള നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഡേയ്സ് നമുക്ക് ഇനി ഉണ്ടാവട്ടെ എന്ന് പ്രാർത്ഥിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്ത എല്ലാവർക്കും, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ജോർജ് സാറിന്റെ ഒരു എന്താ പറയാ ഒരു എന്തൂസിയാസവും ഇതെല്ലാം ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള സാറിന്റെ ഒരു വില്ലിങ്നെസ്സും മനസ്സും ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ എന്നും ഓർക്കണം. അപ്പൊ എല്ലാത്തിന്റെ ഓർഗനൈസേഴ്സിനും എല്ലാവരും വളരെ നന്ദി അറിയിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് സാറിന് നോ വേർഡ്സ് ടു എക്സ്പ്രസ്. താങ്ക് യു സർ.
പറയുന്നു പ്ലീസ്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ
ഗുഡ് ഈവനിങ്. സത്യത്തിൽ ഇതൊരു ബ്ലെസ്ഡ് മൊമെന്റ്സ് തന്നെ ആയിരുന്നു ഇന്നത്തെ ദിവസം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. കാരണം നമ്മൾ പറയും ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓൾ ബിക്കോസ് ഓഫ് യു എന്നൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പ്രോഗ്രാം ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ പറയാറുണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ സാറിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം സാറിന്റെ പ്രസൻസ് ആണ് ഇത്രയും അധികം പേര് ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിന് പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനും എൻറിച്ച്ഡ് ആകാനുമായിട്ട് സാധിച്ചത്. അതിന് ഞങ്ങൾ പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. ഞങ്ങൾ വളരെ അൺഎക്സ്പെക്ടഡ് ആയിട്ട് കിട്ടിയ ഒരു നിമിഷമാണ്. അത് പലർക്കും ഇത്രയധികം പേർക്ക് വളരെയധികം ഉപകാരപ്രദമായ രീതിയിൽ ആക്കി തീർക്കാനായിട്ട് സാധിച്ചു. സത്യം പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്കൊരു എന്താ പറയാ ഏറ്റവും രാവിലെ നമ്മളിവിടെ വരുമ്പോ ഉള്ള ഒരു കിട്ടിയ അറിവല്ല തിരിച്ചു പോകും. ഒരു എൻട്രി ബിഹേവിയർ, എക്സിറ്റ് ബിഹേവിയർ ടെസ്റ്റ് ഒക്കെ നടത്തി നോക്കിയാൽ വളരെയധികം സാറ്റിസ്ഫാക്ഷൻ കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം ആയിരുന്നു. അതിന് സാറിന് ഞങ്ങളുടെ പേരിൽ പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് നന്ദി അർപ്പിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ജ്യോതി സാറ് പരോക്ഷമായിട്ട് വളരെയധികം പുണ്യം അർപ്പിക്കുന്നു ഇന്നത്തെ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാമിന്. കാരണം എത്രയധികം 180 പേർക്ക് അവരുടെ റിസർച്ചുമായിട്ട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് പല ഹാർഡൽസും ഉള്ള നിമിഷമാണ്. അതൊന്ന് മാറ്റി കൊടുക്കാനായിട്ട് ജ്യോതി സാറിന് സാധിച്ചു. അത് പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട് അഭിനന്ദനങ്ങൾ, പ്രാർത്ഥനകൾ അർപ്പിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഞാനും പ്രത്യേകമായിട്ട്, കാരണം എന്റെ റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സ് മിക്കവരും ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ട്, ചില ഓൺലൈനിലും ഉണ്ട്, അവർക്കെല്ലാം വളരെയധികം സഹായകരമായിരുന്നു. സാറിന്റെ സേവനം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒത്തിരിയധികം സന്തോഷം നൽകുന്നു. താങ്ക് യു സർ. ഇന്ന് ഈ സെഷനിൽ ഇവർക്കും പ്രയോജനമാണെന്ന് വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. ഇത്രയും വലിയൊരു റിസോഴ്സസ് ആണ് നമുക്ക് ലഭിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്. സാറിനെ പോരാടായിട്ട് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നതിന് വേണ്ടി നമ്മുടെ തിയോഫിലോസ് കോളേജിന്റെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ പ്രൊഫസർ ഡോക്ടർ ജോജു ജോൺ സാറിനെയും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നീന്തു നമ്മുടെ ഇന്റർ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു. സമയ സാറിനെ ഇന്റർ സ്നേഹത്തോടെ അവസരം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
എല്ലാവരും ഒരു ഫോട്ടോ ഒക്കെ എടുക്കണേ, വീഡിയോ കേട്ടോ, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യണം. എന്നിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവരും മുന്നോട്ട് വരാം. നമുക്ക് സമയ സാറിനോടൊപ്പം ഒരു ഫോട്ടോ ഒക്കെ എടുക്കാം. അത് ഞങ്ങളുടെ സ്നേഹമാണ്. നല്ല കഴിവുകൾ. കോളേജിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ അടുത്ത പരിപാടികളുടെ സാറേ ഏറ്റവും പ്രയോജനപ്രദമായ പരിപാടി. ഒത്തിരി താങ്ക്സ്. നമുക്ക് ഇരിക്കാം. റോഷന് ഒരു വോട്ടർ താങ്ക്സ് പറയും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് നമ്മുടെ നാഷണൽ ആന്തം പാടും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് നമുക്ക് ഒരുമിച്ച് സംസ്ഥാനത്തോടൊപ്പം ഒരു ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്ത് നമുക്ക് പിന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സംസ്ഥാനത്തോടൊപ്പം സാറ് തിരക്കാണോ? ഇല്ല, ഇച്ചിരി നേരം നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സംസ്ഥാനത്തോടൊപ്പം ഡൗട്ട്സ് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കേണ്ട സമയം തരാൻ കുറച്ചു നേരം. ബാക്കി നമുക്ക് ഇനി വേറെ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് നമ്മൾ ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. സംസ്ഥാനെ വെച്ച് സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഷോർട്ട് ടൈം കോഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്.
Our chief guest and the reason for this powerful and insightful session, Dr. Savit Babu sir, and our principal Professor Dr. Joji John sir, and teachers and staff and research scholars and all the participants. Research is to see what everybody else has been and to think what nobody else has thought. ഗവേഷണം എന്നത് എല്ലാവരും കാണുകയും എന്നാൽ ആരും ചിന്തിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. സംവിധാനത്തിന്റെ ആദ്യത്തെ സെഷനിൽ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ റിസർച്ച് ഈസ് ക്രിയേറ്റിംഗ് ന്യൂ നോളജ്. ഇന്ന് ഈ കാലഘട്ടത്തില് ഗവേഷണം എന്നത് നമുക്ക് പുതിയ അറിവുകൾ പകർന്നെടുക്കാനും കണ്ടെത്താനും പുതിയ ആശയങ്ങൾ സൃഷ്ടിക്കാനുമുള്ള ഒരു സ്ഥലമാണ്. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഇന്നുള്ളവരെല്ലാം റിസർച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നവരും റിസർച്ചിലേക്ക് കടന്നു കയറാൻ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കടക്കാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നവരുമാണ്. ഒരു വലിയൊരു ലോകമാണ് റിസർച്ച് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. പലർക്കും പല ചോദ്യങ്ങളും ഇപ്പോഴും നിലനിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ സംവിധാനം പോലെ ഇത്രയും ഒരു വലിയൊരു റിസർച്ച് പേഴ്സണെ നമുക്ക് ഇന്നോട് ലഭിച്ചു. നമുക്കറിയാം ഈ ഒരു കാലഘട്ടത്തില് റിസർച്ചിന്റെ പ്രാധാന്യം എത്രമാത്രമുള്ളത്. ഈ ഒരു റിസോഴ്സ് പേഴ്സൺ ഈ ഒരു ദിവസം എല്ലാവരും പ്രചോദനമായി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രയോജനമായി വിശ്വസിക്കുന്നു. എങ്കിൽ അധിഷ്ഠിക്കുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഏവർക്കും നന്ദി പറയുക എന്നതാണ്. ആദ്യം തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ മുഖ്യമന്ത്രിയായിരിക്കുന്ന സമീർ സർ, എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഡോക്ടർ സമീർ ബാബു എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു ബ്രാൻഡ് നെയിമാണ്. ഓഫ് കോഴ്സ് I can say damn sure that ഇന്ന് ഈ ഒരു ഞങ്ങൾ ഓൺലൈനിൽ ഞങ്ങളുടെ വാച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. 95% ഓൺലൈൻ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. മറ്റ് ഓൺലൈൻ ക്ലാസ് ഒക്കെ നമുക്കറിയാം ഒരു ആഫ്റ്റർനൂൺ സെഷനൊക്കെ ആകുമ്പോൾ ഒരു കുറെ ആൾക്കാരൊക്കെ. പക്ഷെ ഇപ്പോഴും സ്റ്റിൽ 80 പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. So we can demonstrate that സാറിന്റെ ഈ ഒരു ബ്രാൻഡിങ് തന്നെയാണ് ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം ഇത്രയും സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ആവാൻ കാര്യം. എനിക്കറിയാം ഇത്രയും തിരക്കുള്ള സമയങ്ങളിലും സാർ നമ്മുടെ ഇൻവിറ്റേഷൻസ് സ്വീകരിച്ചപ്പെടുത്തുകയും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഭയങ്കര പേഷ്യന്റോടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും കണ്ടൻസ് ക്ലിയർ ചെയ്യുകയും ഒക്കെ ചെയ്ത ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റോടെ നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. വീണ്ടും ഞങ്ങളുടെ കോളേജിലുള്ള ഈ ഒരു ബന്ധം കൊടുക്കുക, വീണ്ടും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ക്ഷണം സ്വീകരിച്ച ഞങ്ങളുടെ റിസോഴ്സ് സ്കോളേഴ്സിന് വീണ്ടും ഇതുപോലുള്ള നല്ല നല്ല ക്ലാസുകൾ സെഷൻസ് നൽകാൻ സാധിക്കട്ടെ എന്ന് ആശംസിക്കുന്നു. സാറിനോട് നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഏതൊരു പ്രോഗ്രാമും സക്സസ് ആവണമെങ്കിൽ നേതൃത്വം നന്നാവണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നേതൃത്വം ശക്തമാകണം. ആ കാര്യത്തിൽ ഞങ്ങളുടെ വലിയൊരു ഉറപ്പാണ് ഞങ്ങളുടെ ജോലി സാർ. കപ്പലിനെ നയിക്കുന്ന ശക്തനായ ഒരു കപ്പിത്താനെ പോലെ ഏതൊരു പ്രോഗ്രാമും വളരെ ശക്തമായ ഊർജ്ജസ്വലതയോടെ നയിക്കുന്ന ഞങ്ങളുടെ ജോലി സാർ. ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ഉറപ്പിച്ചു പറയാൻ പറ്റും, ഇത്രയും സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ആണ്. സ്റ്റേറ്റസ് വഴി ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, ബാക്കി കോളേജുകളിലെ സ്കോളേഴ്സിനെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ റിസോഴ്സ് പേഴ്സണിനെ കോൺടാക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിക്കോട്ടെ, ഏത് രീതിയിലും ഇത്രയും ശക്തമായ നല്ല ഭംഗിയോടെ ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം ഓർഗനൈസ് ചെയ്ത ഞങ്ങളുടെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ പ്രൊഫസർ ഏറ്റവും സ്നേഹത്തോടെ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ അറിയിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഇന്ന് ഈ ടെക്നിക്കൽ സൈഡിൽ ഹാൻഡിൽ ചെയ്ത ആൻസിന, ദീപി ടീച്ചർ, മറ്റ് ടീച്ചേഴ്സ്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ അഡ്മിനിസ്ട്രേറ്റീവ് സ്റ്റാഫ്, റിസോഴ്സ് സ്കോളേഴ്സ്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ BEd ML സ്കോളേഴ്സ്, ഇന്നലെ മുതൽ ഏകദേശം എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളിലും പോകാനുള്ള കുട്ടികളുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ മറ്റ് വിദ്യാലയങ്ങളിൽ നിന്ന്, റിസർച്ച് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ടിൽ നിന്ന് ഇവിടെ ഓൺലൈൻ ആൻഡ് ഓഫ്ലൈൻ ആയിട്ട് എത്തിച്ചേർന്ന ടീച്ചേഴ്സ്, റിസർച്ച് ഗൈഡ്സ്, റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സ്, BEd ML സ്റ്റുഡൻസ്, എല്ലാവർക്കും ഈ സമയത്ത് ഹൃദയപൂർവ്വം നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. ഈ ഒരു പ്രോഗ്രാം ഇത്ര വിജയകരമായി ഏവർക്കും സന്തോഷത്തോടെ നന്ദി അറിയിക്കുന്നു. അതുപോലെ ഇനി ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ കോൺഫറൻസുകളുണ്ട്, ഇതുപോലെ നല്ല ശക്തമായ പങ്കാളിത്തം നിങ്ങൾ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നു എന്ന് ഓർമ്മിക്കുന്നു. നന്ദി.
നാഷണൽ ആന്തം പാടുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് റോഷൻ അത് വളരെ ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞുവെങ്കിലും എനിക്ക് നിങ്ങളോട് എല്ലാവരോടും പേഴ്സണൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ആണ്. എല്ലാവരും ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ സെമിനാറിന് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യണം. ജോയിൻ ചെയ്താൽ മാത്രം പോരാ, ഒരു പേപ്പർ അവതരിപ്പിക്കണം. ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ സാഹചര്യം അനുകൂലമാണെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ അബ്സ്ട്രാക്റ്റിന്റെ ഒരു ഡിജിറ്റൽ പബ്ലിക്കേഷൻ ഉറപ്പായിട്ട് ചെയ്യും. അതിലേക്ക് നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ബുക്ക് പബ്ലിക്കേഷൻ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യും. ഇപ്രാവശ്യം എന്തായാലും നമ്മളത് വിട്ടുകളയത്തില്ല, ഡെഫിനറ്റ് ആയിട്ട് അത് ചെയ്യും. വളരെ നല്ല ഒരു ബുക്ക് വരുമെന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കുന്നത്. അതിന്റെ ഫൈനൽ ആർട്ടിക്കിളിലൊക്കെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് സമയം തരാം. പക്ഷെ നിങ്ങളുടെ അബ്സ്ട്രാക്ട് എത്രയും പെട്ടെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്ത് നിങ്ങൾ അയച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അബ്സ്ട്രാക്ട് നമുക്ക് അടുത്ത ശനിയാഴ്ച തന്നെ നമ്മൾ ഒരു ബുക്ക് നോട്ട് എടുത്ത് നമ്മൾ റിലീസ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടാണ് ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നത്. എല്ലാവരും അതിനകത്ത് കൊളാബറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. നിങ്ങൾ എല്ലാവരും പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം, പേപ്പർ അവതരിപ്പിക്കണം. അടുത്ത ശനി ഓഫ്ലൈൻ ആയിട്ട് വരികയും ചെയ്യണം. നമുക്ക് സൈബർ തത്വ സാറിന്റെയും അശ്വ ശങ്കർ സാറിന്റെയും മെയിൻ രണ്ട് ടോക്ക് ആണ്. വന്നാലേ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആ ഫീല് കിട്ടും. ഇന്നിപ്പോ നിങ്ങൾ ഇത്രയും വന്നപ്പോ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ആ ഫീല് കിട്ടിയതുപോലെ. ഓക്കെ, സമീർ സാറിനോട് പറയാൻ ബിന്ദു ടീച്ചർ അത് ബ്യൂട്ടിഫുൾ ആയിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് വാക്കുകളില്ല. പ്രോഗ്രാമിന്റെ വിജയം സാറിന്റെ വിജയമാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് റിക്വസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ളത്, സാറ് നമുക്ക് ഇനി കുറെ കൂടെ സീരിയസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കുറച്ചുകൂടെ ടൈം എടുത്തുള്ള ഏതാനും പരിപാടികൾ നമുക്ക് ഓഫ്ലൈൻ ആയിട്ടും ഓൺലൈൻ ആയിട്ടും ഒക്കെ സാറ് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ചെയ്തു തരണം. ദേവദാസ് കോളേജിലെന്നല്ല, കേരളത്തിലുള്ള ഇന്ത്യയിലുള്ള റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സിന് സാറിനെ പോലുള്ള ആളുകൾ ഒരു അനുഗ്രഹമാണ്. അത് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കൂടുതൽ പ്രയോജനപ്രദമാക്കി തരണം എന്ന് ഒത്തിരി സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വം ഓർമ്മിക്കുന്നു. പ്രസാദ് അച്ഛന്റെയും ടീച്ചറിന്റെയും എന്റെയും മായ ടീച്ചറിന്റെയും ഞങ്ങളുടെ ടീച്ചേഴ്സിന്റെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും റിസർച്ച് സ്കോളേഴ്സിന്റെയും ML സ്കോളേഴ്സിന്റെയും BEd സ്കോളേഴ്സിന്റെയും മാനേജ്മെന്റിന്റെയും ഇവിടെ വന്ന് നമ്മളെ ബ്ലസ് ചെയ്ത എല്ലാ വിവിധ കോളേജുകളിലെ പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽസ്, അവിടുത്തെ എല്ലാ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന്റെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും വലിയ സ്നേഹം, നന്ദി, പ്രാർത്ഥനകൾ കടപ്പാണ്. നാഷണൽ അതിലേക്ക് നമുക്കൊരു ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ഫോട്ടോ. അധിനായക ജയ ഹേ ഭാരത ഭാഗ്യ വിധാത, പഞ്ചാബ് സിന്ധു ഗുജറാത്ത് മറാഠ ദ്രാവിഡ ഉത്കല ഗംഗാ, വിന്ധ്യ ഹിമാചല യമുന ഗംഗ ഉച്ഛല ജലധിതരംഗ, തവ ശുഭ നാമേ ജാനേ, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, राधे तव जय माता। जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്. ഇപ്പൊ എല്ലാവരും പെട്ടെന്ന് ഓടി ഇങ്ങോട്ട് വരണം. പെട്ടെന്ന് കുറച്ച് പേർക്ക് ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കാം. ഇപ്പൊ 3 വരികയാവും. 8 പേർക്ക് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കാം. രാകേഷ് സാറ്, റോഷന, ടീച്ചറ്, രാകേഷ് സാർ अच्छा अच्छा मेरी क्या എല്ലാരും വരുമല്ലേ? ഓക്കെ ആണോ? താങ്ക് യു ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്. താഴെ ചായ ബജിയൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. എല്ലാവരും 2-3 ബജി വെച്ച് തിന്നണം. ബജി തിന്നണം കേട്ടോ പ്ലീസ്. അല്ല കുറെ പേര് എത്തിക്കാൻ പറയണ്ടേ.
Then